Hello and welcome to March's Feature of the Month. Today we're talking about server groups and how it can make deploying DNS and DHCP options much quicker and easier in your environment. So without hesitation, let's get to it. So what are server groups? Server groups are a logical container that you can apply DNS and DHCP options to all the servers in that group. This allows you to add and remove options, and it will be applied across all of the servers. Some of the most common use cases for server groups are by server role, such as a recursive servers, DNS servers, or DHCP servers. In the demo, I'll show you how you can clean up your deployment options and make them much easier to read and to see what has been applied across servers. The first step in creating server groups is to create the server groups. And to accomplish that, after we log into our address manager, we're going to click on Servers and Server Groups. So in this case, we're going to create 3 groups. We're going to call them DHCP, auth, and recursion. So now we're going to add servers to these groups. So to do that, we're going to come here, click Add Servers, and in this case, 1 and 2 are going to be my recursive servers. 3 and 4 will be my authoritative servers, and 5 and 6 will be my DHCP servers. Now you'll notice that as I add servers to groups, they stop appearing in the option list, and that is because servers can only be a member of one server group at a time. To demonstrate applying deployment options to a server group, we're going to start with our recursive group. And to do that, I'm going to look at the options that have been applied to the servers that I added to that group. So I'm going to go to our view, which is default, and look at the DNS options that have been applied. So as I look down, I can see allow query cache has been applied. I can also see that allow recursion has been applied. So these are the two that we're going to change to be a server group. So I'm going to click on the allow recursion, and I'm going to edit the object and change it to the server group recursion from BDDS1. I'm also going to go to the query cache, allow query cache, and I'm going to modify it to be the same. And now that I've updated those two options, I'm going to look for the other ones that are BDDS2, and I'm going to delete them. So now you can see it's starting to get cleaned up. So now we're going to add to our authoritative group. So now I'm going to look for all of the options for BDDS 3 and 4. And as you can see, I have allow query and allow recursion to none, and that's set to both of them, and I have a start of authority. So the first step is to click on start of authority, and now we're going to add this to the authoritative group. And now go to allow recursion. So we're going to click on here, perform the same task. And now I look, we also have allow dynamic updates. So again, edit, server group authoritative. And that should cover all of them. So now I'm going to click on the redundant options. And delete. So now you can see that my server roles have become a lot more concise and easier to see which roles have which options. Server groups can be used to set deployment options on server objects as well. Let's take a look at how that is done. So I have my two servers here that are my recursive servers that we're going to look at first. So when I go look at the server options that are set, I have DNSSEC validation enabled and set to auto. And when I go look at the other recursive server, I see that DNSSEC is missing and the version information is set. So let's go ahead and set this on the recursive server group. So what I'm going to do is go to deployment options and I'm going to add the options that I want each server to have. In this case, DNSSEC validation set to auto, and I'm going to report my version as none. So when I go look at the server objects again, you'll see that I have inherited from my server group, and then I have this one which is overridden. So I'm going to delete the overridden one so that it inherits from the server group. And I'm going to do the same action on the second server. Now let's look at the DHCP servers. So I've got BDDS5, and I have some deployment options set, which is default lease time, DDNS domain, DDNS updates, and update conflict detection. And if I look at BDDS6, my deployment options are default lease time, DDNS updates, DDNS domain, and I've disabled ping check and enabled client updates. This isn't the configuration that I want for both servers because now one is doing ping checks before giving out leases and the other is not, which can lead to unexpected behaviors. So let's correct this by going to the server groups and setting the options that we'd like to set. So I'm going to go to DHCP, deployment options, and I'm going to add my service options. I'm going to add the default lease time. Now I'm going to add the DDNS domain name, which is BC testing. Going to enable DDNS updates. Update conflict detection will be enabled. And I realized that I didn't set optimization. So I'm going to set update optimization as well. So these are the settings I want on my DHCP servers. So now I will go back to each DHCP server and delete the ones that are not inherited by the server group. And I will do the same for 6. So now you can see my DHCP options are configured the same between both servers. So let's deploy. Oops. And so now if I compare, as you can see on my view, I have allow recursion and allow query, and recursion yes. And if I compare to BDDS2, I will have the same settings. And that is how you can apply options on the server object using server groups. Just like deployment options can be added on a server group, they can also be removed, and it will apply to all the members of the group. So in this case, I'm going to remove the version info from the recursive server group. So now I have removed that option, and now I'm going to deploy out to both servers. And so now if I go look at the server options, you don't see it on the deployment options, and we won't see it in here as well, the version info. And it's also the same configuration for BDDS2. Again, it has been removed. So this shows how server groups can be an effective tool in maintaining compliancy with the standards for your different type of server roles. I hope this demonstration showed how server groups can be beneficial in your environment. They're an excellent method for enforcing consistency among servers that are performing the same type of role. There's nothing worse than figuring out that you had an issue because one deployment option was not applied to a server. This can help reduce that risk and make your lives much easier when applying and removing deployment options. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next month.